Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's me, your guy Waddles, and welcome to another List Week video. Today's video is going to be really fun. This is actually a fan-requested video, sort of. Earlier this week, I did a video on some must-have early game farms. In that video, there were a few crop farms, and that got me thinking about automatic farms. Today, we're going to take a look at 3 automatic food farms. Build these things in your world, and eventually, you'll be overrun with food. Of course, I've got to send a big shout out to Lucy M from Twitter for a little bit of the inspiration behind this video concept. If you guys enjoy it, drop a like and subscribe. Now, let's move on to farm number 1. Pumpkin pie is a really good food source. The stuff restores 8 full hunger and 4.8 saturation. Now, it's pretty easy to craft too. To craft a pumpkin pie, you'll need 1 pumpkin, 1 sugar, and 1 egg. Now, to make things even better, you can actually automatically harvest all of these materials. That means you can build a really simple farm to harvest all of the materials that you need to craft one of the best foods in the game. With this built in your world, you'll get plenty of sugarcane, pumpkin, and eggs that you can use to craft pumpkin pie. Now, this design is pretty compact. If you're looking for a crazy pumpkin pie operation, I definitely recommend building a couple of these things. To build one of these machines, these are the materials that you'll need. And the top of the chest, we have materials in almost exact amounts aside from the building blocks right here. You'll want to have about a half stack of building blocks, but you should probably have a little bit more. You'll need 1 staircase and 12 slabs as well. Those can be any type of stairs or slabs. You could use wood if you'd like. You'll need 3 plantable blocks. I recommend just using dirt, and then these other materials right here. Now, in the middle of the chest are some other things that you should probably have. You'll definitely want to have a water bucket and some light sources. Could be torches, could be even better, lanterns. And then depending on how you want things to look, you might want to have some extra trapdoors as well. Now, when it comes to egg collection, we actually have 2 options. We can build a separate model right here, or we can put some chickens inside of this thing. Kind of. We'll have to use a trick. So depending on how you want your egg farm to set up, you'll either need a boat and some chickens, or these materials right here and some chickens. In my opinion, this method right here is a lot more reliable, but I'll show you a way to compact everything into one farm. Now the build. To start, dig 2 blocks out in the ground and place 2 chests inside of those blocks right next to each other so they make a double chest. Go behind that chest and dig 2 more blocks out and place 2 hoppers going into the double chest. On top of those hoppers, place your rails, and then on those rails, place 2 minecarts with hoppers inside of them. Now grab some building blocks and fully encase these minecarts with the hoppers in them other than on the front, so you have something that kind of looks like this. With your building blocks, go ahead and continue both of the side walls up 1 more block. Now, in one of the back corners, place a staircase facing inwards, and then place 3 plantable blocks just like that. Now, you'll want to waterlog the staircase so this land can eventually become saturated so we can actually plant sugarcane and pumpkin over here, so the stuff will actually grow. Now we need a few more building blocks. Place a building block here, then fill this whole wall in and place 1 above the waterlogged stair. On the other side, place a building block right there on the front corner. Now it's redstone time. On the left side of this farm, place a piston facing inwards and then an observer facing the same direction as that piston, like that. On the other side, place an observer looking towards your waterlogged stair block, or the block above it, and then a piston right next to it. That's the machine basically. Now we just need to wire things up. Behind the right side observer, place a building block and then a building block right behind that piston as well, and then 2 redstone dusts on top of it. On the left side, place a building block right behind your piston and a redstone dust right behind that observer, so you have something that looks like this. Now, basically, you just need to fill everything else in with building blocks. I like the idea of being able to see into my farm, so I'm going to use some glass here to fill things in. Skip this block right here. Don't put anything right in front of that observer. After you place your building blocks, you should have something that looks like this right here. Now it's time to plant our crops. You'll need to till the land that is in front of the observer that's near the ground and then plant a pumpkin seed on that block. The observer should update, that's fine, that's cool. In front of the other machine, place a sugarcane just like that. Now, eventually, these plants are going to grow up. As soon as the sugarcane grows all the way up in front of this observer, the sugarcane will be harvested. Now, once this pumpkin plant actually grows up and plants a pumpkin, the observer will detect that, and the piston will harvest the pumpkin. These hopper minecarts down here will pick everything up and throw it into the chest down below the farm. To fully finish this thing off, fill the top in with slabs so items don't get thrown out of the top, and then maybe place some trapdoors around this thing to make it look a little bit better. But the trapdoors, they are completely optional. You don't have to do that. I just think it makes it look a whole lot nicer. Now the chicken thing, so we can get some eggs going. So first we'll do the one that I recommend doing. Place a chest in the ground and then place a hopper going into that chest. All the way around that hopper, place a bunch of fences or walls, and then fill the middle with chickens. That's it. These chickens will lay eggs, the hopper will pick the eggs up, and the eggs will be in this chest. So from this chest, you'll get your eggs. From this one, you'll get your sugarcane and pumpkins. Go ahead and combine all that stuff in a crafting table, and boom, pumpkin pie. Now, if you're tight on space and you'd like to combine everything, this is the other option. Go on top of the first farm that you built and remove some of the middle slabs. Get a boat on top of that thing, then move the boat right over the middle. Just get inside of the thing and row it until it lines up with one of the middle slabs, just like that. Get out of the boat and then get 2 chickens inside of that boat. This part can be a little tricky. You'll need to get chickens on top of the thing and then just nudge them into the boat. Now, these chickens will eventually lay eggs, and they should fall all the way down to the ground of this farm, and these hopper minecarts will pick those eggs up and throw them into the chest here. But if you do it like this, you might end up getting a little bit of loss. The sugarcane can occasionally get thrown onto the top of this farm like this, and that's probably not good. So I don't know. It's your call. If you're okay with a little bit of loss, do this. If you'd like to have 0 loss at all, do this farm right here. 2 separate farms. In my opinion, 2 farms, that's not bad. You could even get really tricky here and combine this farm with this one by placing a hopper right over here going into the same chest and just doing a bunch of building blocks right there, and then maybe, I guess, some fences there and get a bunch of chickens inside of there. That could work too. It's all up to you. But there you go, farm number 1, a fully automatic pumpkin pie machine. Do you ever find yourself saying, wow, I am short on sweet berries and I need more of those things. I wish I had an automatic farm for that. Well, if that is the case, here is the farm for you. With this farm, you will be able to automatically collect a bunch of sweet berries while you AFK in your world. Now, I definitely recommend building this farm inside of a building or under the ground, not in the open air like I have here. This thing will keep running as long as you want to AFK. Set this thing up in your world, then put something on your mouse and go away. Go do something else, come back later, and you should have a bunch of sweet berries ready to be planted, or hey, if you need a million sweet berries. Now, this farm is insanely easy to build, like way easier than the last one. There are a few options with this farm as well. So the materials that you need to build this thing are right here inside of this chest. You will need 8 signs, 20 sweet berries, 20 plantable blocks, so dirt or coarse dirt or maybe podzol, and then a boat. You'll probably want to have about 3 stacks of building blocks on hand as well, and the building blocks this time should be something that berries and saplings and things like that cannot be planted on, so like wood or stone, that would be good. Now, the optional stuff on the bottom of this chest. You may want some doors on this thing. If you're AFKing, remember, the hostile mobs might be able to find you and ruin that AFK session, and then you might want something to put in your hand to harvest the bushes. Something like a sapling would be perfect. I'll explain that a little later on. Now, if you want 0 losses on this farm, you'll want this bottom row of supplies. You can set up 2 hopper minecart collection systems underneath your farm to make sure you don't lose a single berry. Do you need to do this? Probably not, but you could if you need like a million sweet berries and you don't want to lose any. If that's the case, grab these supplies as well. If it's not, then just skip that and get the top stuff. Now, this farm is kind of large. To start, you'll either need to build a frame that is 13 blocks long in one direction and 8 blocks in the other one, or dig into the ground 6 blocks and then 11 in the other direction. This time, I think I'll dig down into the ground. It'll be a little bit easier. It'll save some time. After either building some walls around where you want to build this farm or digging down into the ground, now it's time to set up where we want to plant our sweet berries. So 1 row of sweet berries will be planted in the middle except for 2 spaces on either end, and then the other set of sweet berries will be planted all the way along the backside of this farm. So go ahead and place some blocks that your sweet berry bushes can be planted on, and then plant your sweet berry bushes so you have something that looks like this. Now, this farm can actually be expanded. You could make more twists and turns and make this really big if you'd like, or you could keep it small, like what I'm doing here. That's kind of your call. If you're going to make it larger though, you'll need more signs and more building blocks and everything like that, so just kind of keep that in mind. Now it's sign time. The signs are going to control how the water moves, so once we put a boat inside of this thing, the boat will continually move in a loop. To start, go to the left side of this build and place a sign, and then another sign right on top of it like that, 1 block away from the corner. Now go ahead and go a couple blocks towards the middle and place a sign and another sign on that sign. So after getting your first 2 sets of signs in, basically go to the back side of the farm and copy this exactly. Place some signs on top of each other, 1 in from the back corner and then somewhere in the middle. You don't need to be exact in the middle. Once you put your water in, you'll know if you have your signs right. And so that means water time. Place a water source in this front corner and watch the water. It should flow towards the middle. Then go ahead and place another water source right here. It should flow all the way over to these signs. Then place another water source in the back corner. Make sure it goes all the way to these signs. And then finally, another water source right here along the back wall. This should create a continuous loop. You can test this out by putting a boat in it and basically watching how the boat moves. If the boat moves all the way around this thing without getting stopped on a single thing, then you're good. It definitely looks like that's the case here, so we're good to go. Now this part probably should have been done before you put the water in, but if you want the thing to look pretty, change the floor blocks to something nicer. If you decide to do this, make the floor out of something that isn't a plantable block, something like wood, definitely not dirt. But that step is kind of optional, so do it if you want or don't do it, it doesn't really matter. Now, last but not least, you probably should put some walls on this thing and a roof on it as well, unless you're building it under the ground. If you're building it under the ground, make sure you get some light in the area, and then you're pretty much good to go. Definitely, though, if you build it on the surface, don't forget a roof. Eventually, phantoms will spawn if you AFK for a long time, so yeah, that could be a problem. So, roof, don't forget it. I didn't build one on my example, so we could look into it a little bit easier. You also might want to put a door on this thing. Again, probably an iron door would be best, so you don't have mobs breaking down the door and getting into you and disturbing you. If you're bumped while you're in the boat, that could be a big problem. So iron door if you'd like, or skip the door, just put building blocks and break and replace them. That's your call. And so that's it. Go ahead and bring a boat over to this farm and then something that you can put in your hand so you don't end up picking up sweet berries and then trying to place them everywhere. That could be kind of annoying. I find that a sapling is perfect for this. Place the boat down in the water stream and get inside of the boat. Once you're inside of the boat, scroll over to your placeholder item, so again, for me, the sapling, and just hold down the use button. The sweet berries will grow from time to time, and since you're holding down the use button, once you move in front of them, they'll be harvested. Now, if you want to have 0 losses on this farm, you will need to make some modifications. To start, we should probably just go ahead and remove all of the water sources because the water, that stuff will mess up the rails and that could be a big problem. Now, I'm not going to actually do this step by step because it's kind of straightforward. Basically, remove all of the water and then remove all of the blocks where you planted your sweet berries. 1 block below that, you'll need to set up a rail line that keeps a hopper minecart moving constantly. Somewhere in there below one of the rails, place a hopper that goes into a chest, and then get a hopper minecart actually going on the thing. The hopper minecart will pick up any extra blocks. You'll probably want to create some sort of access area so you can go down below your farm and get to your chest. You can position this so you need 1 single double chest, but 2 different rail lines. That is, from my experience, the easiest way to get this thing running. To make sure your hopper minecart keeps running forever, place 2 powered rails on either end of this thing. After you set up your rail lines, place your blocks back, and then plant your bushes again. Get the water back inside of this farm, and then you're good to go. Wait for the berries to grow up, get in a boat, and do the same thing that I just showed you. And you'll have a bunch of sweet berries, and you won't lose any. In my opinion, you should be able to skip that whole minecart hopper thing. It's a little excessive, but if you really need like 1,000,000 sweet berries for something, then don't skip it. Because eventually, if you AFK in this thing for a really long time, your inventory will fill up, and then you'll stop picking up sweet berries. But there you go, farm number 2, a fully automatic AFKable sweet berry farm. Now, our final farm. But first, if you've been enjoying this video, help me out by dropping a like and subscribing. Seriously, that helps a lot. So, Buzzy Bees is the latest Minecraft update. The update is really cool. It added bees and a lot of other bee-related items. Now, I was really excited when I figured this out. This was kind of tricky to figure out. This thing is a fully automatic honey bottle farm. Set this up in your world and then do something near it for a little while, then come back and check it and you should have some honey bottles for you to either drink or craft into honey blocks. The farm is fairly compact and again fully automatic. So to build this farm, you'll need these things right here in exact amounts again. Where things kind of go off of the exact amount thing is with the building blocks again. You'll want to have about 13 building blocks, but probably a little bit more. Now to get this thing started, you will also need to have a beehive, so you'll have to find some natural bees in your world and harvest their home. You'll also need a honey bottle as well. Now in non-exact amounts, you'll want some flowers, probably about 10 or so. You'll need some glass bottles, and you'll need some bees as well. This farm is composed of 2 separate redstone circuits. They're both pretty easy circuits though. To start, place a double chest. Behind that double chest, place a hopper going into it, and then place a temporary block right above that chest and another hopper going into that block. Make sure the hopper goes into the block, that's very important. Then remove the temporary block. Now behind here, we need to set up a hopper locking system. Now this sounds complex, but it's actually pretty easy. Clear out some space below the ground and then place 3 building blocks coming off of the lower hopper. Now diagonally down 1 block from those building blocks, place another building block. Then place 1 down here, and then finally 1 back up there, so you have this T and then 2 diagonal blocks. Now the circuit. Place a comparator going out of that top hopper, and then a redstone dust, and a redstone dust. In this middle area, place a repeater going forward, and then finally a redstone torch down there. That's how we'll lock our hopper basically. We'll come back and finish the thing up and the last step of this build. Now we need a place for our bees to live and for the honey to be made. To do this, start by placing a dispenser facing towards the left on top of your top hopper. Then place a beehive right in front of or next to that dispenser. After that, we need to set up another simple circuit. To do this, place a temporary block below your beehive and then place a permanent block like that. Then remove the temporary block. Then go ahead and place a few more building blocks just like that, and then a few right behind that dispenser as well. Now finally, place a comparator coming out of your beehive and then some redstone dust just like that. Now to prevent this weird thing from happening, place a single building block like that and you're actually good to go. That is the whole build. Now we just need to lock our hopper, so that's pretty easy. Go into the top hopper and place 40 placeholder blocks. The placeholder blocks can be anything that won't be near this farm, so probably don't use glass bottles, that would be really bad. Also, inside of that hopper, place a single honey bottle and boom, your hopper is locked. Now, inside of your dispenser, you can place a bunch of glass bottles and they won't go anywhere. Comparators can detect the amount of honey inside of beehives and bee nests. That's how this farm works. When this beehive is full, the redstone signal will actually power the dispenser and a honey bottle will be harvested. The honey bottle will go inside of this dispenser and then this whole hopper locking system will pull the honey bottle down to here. Now, one disclaimer with this farm. It will hold a single honey bottle inside of the lower hopper because of how this locking system is kind of set up. So, just something to note, you can definitely take that lower honey bottle out, but this top one, it needs to stay there always. To make sure this thing is actually functional, of course, plant some flowers around it, maybe space them out a little bit from the machine though, and then get some bees over here as well. Bees can be found easiest in the flower forest biome, so maybe head over there. But there you go, that is about the simplest honey bottle farm. And so here we are at the end of the video. I hope you like these farms, I hope they help you out. If you enjoyed the video, help me out by dropping a like and subscribing if you haven't yet. I post videos daily, every single day, and I've been doing it for over a year, which is pretty cool. If you're interested in my other things, like my Twitter and my Instagram, maybe my Twitch, check out the description. All of that stuff is down there. Today, I'd like to send a special thank you to my patron, BrownBanana13. This has been List Week. I'll see you next time. Goodbye, everyone. Stay cool.